Welcome everybody once again to Safe Place Podcast. And it's a pleasure to have another guest here with us today, and it's Danny Turner, who's into self-development in a way, aren't you, mate? So do you want to give us a talk about what it is that you do?
Yeah, I'll say I've been an engineer for 20 years now, and I've never ever really looked into anything different, or I didn't have any aspirations for anything massively, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I was just doing my job as normal. But then when my little boy Jacob come along, which was in 2017, that's when my mindset completely shifts, because what I know now is obviously with a paradigm shift happens from an emotional impact or a repetition of information.
Yeah.
And the emotional impact can be good or bad. So my emotional impact from my son being born, because obviously you both know me very well. I've got a beautiful fiancé. Yeah. I've got a gorgeous home, and then I had my little boy. So like you think, oh, this boy's got everything, but I work three shift patterns, and I was only ever seeing my son when I was on afternoons for 1 hour a day.
Okay.
So through the week, that's 5 hours. Yeah. Like that's
nothing, is it?
It's nothing for a father, really. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it just made me realise that doing a job for the rest of my life was never ever going to give me the life that I want to give to my son. And as much as I love my dad's got a great life and what he gave me. He's still 64 and he's still working for a living. Yeah. And I was just like, there's got to be more out there. So you call it like law of attraction, whether you believe in it or not. It's a law. You wouldn't dispute the law of gravity and walk off a block of flats.
No, you wouldn't.
So my good friend Jake Parton, I don't know if any of you guys know him from Coleshill. No. Well, he's a massive gym fanatic and a good friend of mine. And I've known Jake for over 11 years. And he reached out to me and he just said to me, let's go for a catch-up and we'll talk about family. Yeah. And I went for a catch-up with him. And when we sat down and had a catch-up, he just said, what is it you want from life? And I told him, I said, I want to live life on my terms. I want to live life where I haven't got to put my hand up or ask to go to the toilet at work and things like that. And I'm not here bashing jobs or anything like that. One bit, like we all need them. Yeah. But it was just there's no freedom in a job. And I just said to Jake, I said, look, that's what I want. And I'd seen the growth in Jake. And he said to me, he said, have you ever heard of personal development? At the time, I hadn't heard of like what it was, like in depth. Yeah. But he just said to me, he said, I'm working with some very successful people who know how to get what you want based around the laws of attraction and the book The Secret. And there's a guy in the book The Secret called Bob Proctor. Now, obviously, if you're into personal development, you would know who that guy is straight away. The guy he's been studying the human mind now for over 60 years. And he said to, Jake's in business with Bob Proctor's wife, Linda. Yeah. And he said to me, he said, look, if you're willing to change, Dan, then I can show you how to get what you want. But the thing is, you're going to have to change, because like Albert Einstein said it the most. Yeah. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And as much as I was putting in the overtimes on the Saturdays and the Sundays, I'm never going to... It's quite crazy, really. We're taught... So it's taught to like go to school, get a good job, get good grades and work, but you work until you're 65. And you ask anybody, if you want to earn any extra income, how would you do it? Oh, I'll put some more time in. So you're giving away more of your time that you want to gain, to spend with maybe your children, to earn the extra income, to get maybe take them on a holiday. But then all you're doing then is you end up escaping from a life. Yeah. That you're just trying to escape from a life that you don't want for 2 weeks and a year, and then you end up coming back.
So it's a fascinating story, isn't it? You have a son, you feel this big emotional change come up within you. It gives you a desire to create your own journey, in a sense, create your own freedom, and then you come across your mate Jake, who's at a place in his life where he's already walked a little bit of that journey. He inspires you with a sense of a science in a way, isn't it? A philosopher. Yeah. Understanding that there's a process in place that can take you from one level to the next, isn't there?
Yeah, it's totally true. It's like Bob always. I've met Bob Proctor twice now.
Yeah.
I flew to Frankfurt in October. I was getting the right one. Frankfurt in October 2019. Met him and his wife for the very first time. Obviously, you're a part of the team. They welcome you with open arms. And then I also flew to Toronto in March. And Bob always stands on stage and he always says if he was to lose all his money over again, Bob's a multi-millionaire. He doesn't need the money, but he does it because his life purpose is to help people come out of the rat race and become the best version of themselves. So he always says, Bob says, because it's 95 to 99% his complete mindset. The 1 to 10%, 1 to 5% is the physical action, the action of going out to the, you've got to get your mindset right.
Yeah.
And too many people will always like focus on current results and base their life from that, whereas you haven't. You've got to work from the spiritual to where you want to be backwards. You always work backwards from the goal.
And it's unfortunate in a sense, there's this cultural program in a sense, as you rightly say a few moments ago, which is you get a job, you work hard, you work till you're 65, the age is going up to now 67, retirement. And then the fruits of that reward aren't really enough because you lose out on family time because you're working all those hours under the sun. Yet there's a process that you've come across. And that if you follow that process, and it's all mindset, as you rightly say, if you follow that, you can create a different outcome from the normal program that we've been accustomed to believing in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, again, 100%. You're totally right, because at the end of the day, success leaves clues.
Yeah.
So you need to look at people who have got results that you want and think, like, how are they doing it? I'm not here to promote books, but there's a book called Think and Grow Rich. It's written by a guy called Napoleon Hill. Yeah. Now, in that book, Napoleon Hill talks about a guy called Andrew Carnegie. I'm going back to 1907 now. This is how far back it goes. Yeah. I've read this book 3 times, so I know the dates. But I'd never heard of this guy before. But he now, if he was alive today, he would walk all over the likes of Bill Gates and that with the amount of money he had, because the equivalent ratio. Now, Andrew Carnegie, he mentored Napoleon Hill, and he said to Napoleon Hill, if you do as I say, you will become more successful than me. And Napoleon Hill didn't believe him. But Napoleon Hill has now created more millionaires from this book called Think and Grow Rich. It's a book called Think and Grow Rich for a reason. It's not called Work Hard and Grow Rich. Everyone thinks you've got to put in the hours of like 10 or 12 hours a day.
And the Danny of now, how does the Danny of now feel compared to the Danny of 4 years ago before your son was born? What's changed?
Oh, my whole... You know, when you find... like. When you find your purpose in life, you'll know. Yeah. As in, I've always been a nice person, as in to help people. I've never been a bad person. I think I've only ever had 2 fights in my entire life, and that was when I was a very young kid. I've always kept out of trouble. But the person that I was, obviously, you know, I used to go to the pub, and nothing wrong with going to the pub. I was to the pub every weekend. I was gambling, wasting my money because I had nothing to... I had a lot of spare cash, if you know what I mean. There
was no purpose
there. No, there's no purpose. My purpose is my son. My son is my why every single morning. It's like this morning, I'll give you an example. I woke up this morning to go to the toilet at 4:05. Yeah. I'd been to sleep since 9:45 last night. I was wide awake. And then when I was wide awake, then I was just thinking about things about talk on this. Because when you find a purpose, then you don't need an alarm clock to wake up.
And it's like when you get that purpose, it's like an energy that you never had access to before. It fills you with energy, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and like Bob says, we've all got energy. It's like no one gets energy.
No,
it's the desire, it's the burning desire, and that's what moves you into action. Yeah. And if I had a board, I'd draw it. But like you get action, then you get a result, then you get momentum, and then it just keeps going round in like a figure of 8. And every time you go for the middle, you're getting a result, and the more results you're getting. Because don't get me wrong, with what I do with Jake and the team and Linda and that, you get knocked back so many times because people don't understand it. Because unfortunately, what people don't understand, they seem to criticise and ridicule. We're all the same.
Yeah.
We all think everything's a scam. We all think everything how to get there. Because if it doesn't look like a job, if the thing doesn't look like a job, which gives you a paycheck at the end of the day, then we're not open to new ideas. Whereas, I've become very open-minded. I will listen to anyone about anything now.
As you say, the nature of it is setbacks, and as Jim Rohn would say, you keep knocking on those doors, and eventually one's going to open for you. That's you creating your own opportunities. Isn't it?
I think you know, the people at home will be asking, or they might not know about law of attraction. I know a little bit, and I have a philosophy of law of attraction, and I do think that there's a lot of common sense where if you just think and feel better about a certain thing, you can put more passion into it, and this energy will arrive. Could you explain what the law of attraction is to people at home if they've never heard of it before? Just if you can do it in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, well, the law of attraction is actually a secondary law. The first law is the law of vibration, because everything vibrates. That's all science and physiology have all agreed on one thing. Any scientist will say, like this wall now, that wall's vibrating. You can't see it, but if you look at it under a microscope. So for you to attract what you want in life, say for instance, I don't know, you wanted just £10,000 a month. Let's just put it out there. You wanted £10,000 a month. Now, £10,000 a month is a goal. It's on a frequency.
Yeah.
That is on a frequency. So you've got to get on that frequency. And the only way for you to get on that frequency, you've got to become that £10,000 a person. So you've got to think, right, what would a £10,000 a person be doing?
Yeah.
Who would he be associating with? How would he be talking? And also, you got to watch what information you put into your mind. Obviously, with the information that you put into your mind, it's going to be how you go into action about it. So you always need to feel good. You've done it loads of times where, like for instance, I can guarantee you both agree with this. You've thought about somebody or something, and the next thing you know, you get a text message, or you may see them in the shopping centre or something. Because
strange coincidences.
Well, we're all connected. Every frequency is connected.
Yeah.
It's just at different levels. So with the laws of attraction, you just got to get on the same frequency of what it is you want. But you're not going to do it on your own. Like I say, I'll use just £10,000 a month as an example there. My dad doesn't know how to earn that, so I don't know how to get it. So I have to surround myself with people who know how to get it. And then you need to make yourself feel good now. It's like, for instance, my morning routine, and this happens every single morning. I've done it a little bit earlier today, but the first thing I do is when I get up, for instance, because we base on our life on how we see, hear, smell, taste and touch. We base all our life on our five senses.
Yeah.
But we've got 6 higher faculties than that. We've got memory, you've got reason, you've got intuition, you've got perception, you've got will, and imagination. Did I say that one?
You did, mate. No, that's right. You've got the 6 there.
Yeah, they're the 6 imagination. I always remember it as whip MRI. That's how I remember the thing.
Yeah.
So you need to be like looking at the things. That's why vision boards. People talk about vision boards like, oh, that's a load of rubbish. No, because you base it on what you're seeing. And I've got a goal card here. So my morning routine is that goal card there has got what my goal is, and I don't mind sharing it on there. I want to be earning.
Yeah, share it out.
Yeah. But I am so happy and grateful now that I am earning £100,000 a month in isogenics. I'm an isogenics crystal executive. I have 100,000 BV on each leg, and I'm helping others earn a 6 and 7 figure income. I work every day on my mindset, and I'm in the best physical condition I'm ever in. Now I read that as I'm brushing my teeth every day. So the second I've got up, I'm already thinking about my goal.
And that makes you feel
good.
Change.
You've got to feel, because it's all right just reading it. You need the emotion.
That's the vibration that you was talking about, isn't it?
You need the emotion. So obviously I'll start reading my goal card straight away. Then I'll go in, obviously get into my work clothes or whatever. Then I'll go downstairs and I'll write 10 things I'm grateful for in present tense, or things that I'm grateful for now. Like I always try and mix it. I do 5 of each. Like I'm grateful for my fiancé and my son. I'm grateful for that we've got a beautiful home to live in, you know what I mean? I'm grateful for my... Then I write in present tense, I'm so happy and grateful now that, like, one of my big ones at the minute is now that my beautiful daughter has been born and the mother and the baby are both safe and well. Because you've got to thank for things that have yet to come.
So every day there's like that recalibration of that mindset. You're cementing it in stone, aren't you, by getting up every morning and saying from that card, feeling it, and you're only going to invite the potentiality of that increasing by carrying out those rituals.
It's almost common sense, really, isn't it? If you think about it, you think about the way that you view something. Danny's talking about there altering a reality inside him that equals feeling better.
Yeah.
Now that just makes common sense that you'd want to do that.
You'd
be a better person.
And that beautiful process, the idea that someone can't harvest a field unless they've put the work into growing that field, in a sense, and that there's a process there that Danny's doing, and that if you follow that process, that mindset, eventually you're going to be able to reap the rewards of what that hard work's putting in, isn't it?
Yeah, Earl Nightingale, there's an audio called The Stranger's Secret. There's loads, you've probably listened to it, but anyone listening to this now, I strongly recommend you listen to it. And in there, he said, because imagine the human mind is like a field. You can get from it whatever you plant. So you could plant a beautiful harvest, or you could plant nightshade, which is poison.
Yeah.
And whatever one's going to grow is the one that you feed.
Well, now you say something like that, because we do this podcast for people with mental health, Dan. I want to ask you a question. If someone out there has a negative thing happen in their life, how can the law of attraction work for when you do get this bit of negativity that's bound to come up from the person who frustrates you, or somebody, you know? How do you translate the law of attraction to something negative is happening now? How can I alter the reality of that?
Well, you're always going to get negative in your life. Like we all get. I'm human. I have bad days as well. But I do. When I have a bad day, or when I know I'm in such a bad mood or whatever, because things happen in life and they do upset you.
Yeah.
Then I'll go back to basics. I honestly go back to basics. Like you can't just let it go and say I let it go, because like that. It's like I've walked around the block for 10 minutes and I'm there shouting like in because you need to let your subconscious know that you are angry with it.
Yeah.
But then you got to go, right now, come on, man up, let it go now, because you got to. I now practice what I preach. I'm like, so then I'll go back. I'll go back to the drawing board if I have to. I'll write down what I'm grateful for. Like, come on, raise that vibration again. Put some music on or something like that, because you know how much we love music. If you put some music on, dance to a song that you love, stare at a picture of your family or something, and
something that triggers a nice emotion.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing as well, Dan, is the idea you go back, you suffer like we all do with life, can throw negative shit at you all the time. And what you do is you go back to basics and you reaffirm, and it's almost like you can invite the negativity in a sense. You can accept it, saying you can go, you know what, when it comes up, I go back to basics and I'll build it
You
all from
actually
scratch
hit
again.
it face on, don't you?
Yeah, you got to do that. It's like the negative side as well. It will always creep in, but the law of attraction will work on basically what you focus on the most. Obviously, so if it's just for 10 minutes, it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, if it turns into days.
I think it's something like 90. What I'm not a law of attraction like total expert on the bit, but I think it's something like 91 seconds and it starts to work or something.
Yeah,
it starts to work towards you. So obviously it's still gonna. But if you can push it away then and just focus on something else that you do want, or like I've had many rows with my missus now. She's gonna probably kill me for talking about this. I've had many rows with my missus, but I go off, I call off, and then I'm like, right. But then I have to go into regardless of whether I'm right or wrong, I'll go into the room and where she is, and I'll go, I'm sorry, that's it, because you have to forgive, you have to let it go. Yeah. I'm not doing it for her to say she's right. I'm doing it for me, because if I don't let that go, it's gonna eat away at me, and I'll be constantly thinking about it. And then
and this is brilliant as well for mental health viewers to hear you say that, where it's forgiveness is a key thing for your enemies, and you've got to forgive them, because it's almost like you say, you're forgiving yourself to move on, aren't you?
And again, gratitude's a good thing. When you're in that space, if you again refocus on the basics, as you say, what you're grateful for, the missus, the kids, it can then change that state of being, that emotion from a negative one to a positive one. It'll only increase your chances of walking in that room and saying, you know what, I'm sorry.
And if you've
just move on.
If you've not heard of law of attraction, I've gone into law of attraction. It's worked for me in the past with lots of things, and you start to open your eyes to bigger connections, and I think opportunities you see, don't you, clearer.
It's like I love this analogy. You'll never beat it. It's like Mark Zuckerberg. He invited 5 friends, didn't he, to his dorm room, and he said, "Look, I'm going to start up Facebook." 3 of them said no. 2 of them said yes. They're now multi-billionaires. The other 3, I don't know what they're doing, but it's all right saying, "Oh, there was too many people have got, oh yeah, you're using the right place at the right time." No, them 5 people were all in the right place at the right time, but only 2 of them was aware. Awareness is key. It's like I was only ever aware, and I don't mind saying my salary on it, I was only ever aware I had to earn £35,000 a year. Yeah. That was all I was ever aware, because I didn't have a clue about how to do it until I met met up with Jake again, and then Jake explained to me what kind of income people was earning, and as long as you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And then he was like, so now my awareness has been exposed to so much more now, because what happens is your imagination, once it expands, it will never shrink back to its original dimensions. It's like, we're getting married next year, me and Claire are, next August, and we went to a few venues, and then we saw this one venue, and we wasn't planning on having a big wedding, but when we've seen the venue and you imagine it, you experienced it, we fell in love with it. And I was like, we went to a one after that then, and it was tiny, and I was like, no, I want that one. And my Mrs. Claire was like, yeah, I want the same one. And we ended up with like, let's just do it then. Let's make the decision, because the second you make the decision, the universe will give you everything you need. The universe doesn't like people who don't make decisions, basically.
So we're saying that you can create your own reality, which is perfect, makes perfect sense. Whatever you focus on, so if you're focusing on a negative emotion, if you hold on to that, that's going to be just your mental health for the next week or
As Danny said, mindset is key to this, isn't it?
So changing your mindset, having a passion in summer, and now you're dreaming of the big wedding, and we can say, this is a reality, an experience that you're going to have that you're going to absolutely love. And in a way, you're already feeling that experience. It's almost like it's existing now inside you. The dream is already you, isn't it? So it's changed your personality in a way, hasn't it?
But because everything starts in the imagination. This mobile phone was started in the imagination. You know what I mean? It's like I love the phrase. I dream my painting, and I painted my dream. Yeah. And that's exactly how it is. It's like the other week I had a dream. And it was about a guy who I was going to meet, who's going to join the business to get me to a certain rank, and I didn't still know who this person was, because I've never seen the face, and I worked my butt off to try and get to this rank, and it was 11 p.m. and the cut-off was midnight, and I thought, it's done. I'm knackered. I'm going to bed. I was about to go to bed, and then a woman in my team. Yeah, she texted me. She went, I've just enrolled this person, and it put me into the rank. Little did I know, I wasn't going to get it from me doing it. It was somebody in my team member doing it, but it was connected to me.
Absolutely.
Because the universe will give it you, but it doesn't necessarily give it you in the form that you think you're going to receive it. So,
Danny, I've been looking through some of your Facebook posts. They're lovely messages. You are sharing this mindset with people on Facebook. And what it is it that you're doing that for? What is it that you want to share this for? Is it because you want to help people free themselves from a place in their lives that's uncomfortable?
Obviously, I've not come from a bad background. I was just your everyday boy who went to the pub and enjoyed his life. I've done it from the age of 20 to 30, and that's when I met Claire, and then I lived life on my terms with Claire. Like, we had no children, so we enjoyed life again. But like, I'm stuck in a shift, like shifts at work, and I just want people to know that you haven't got to settle for the life that you've got now. It's like, I hate the phrases now, because we've all said them, our money goes to money, or the rich get richer. Yeah. It's not that. They just know that they're aware of opportunities that are out there. It's like the word poor, people have got poor mindsets, and it don't mean poor as in monetary value. Poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. You'll get offered so many opportunities, but again, you'll turn them down. So with me adding value to people with them on my posts and that, just to let them know, so like say, look, if you become positive, this is the kind of thing that you can maybe achieve. Like, my results are not where I want to be. You see where my goal card is, but I'm prepared. I know that goal card's already done, because there's no such thing as time. It's already done. That's already been happened as. So now all I've got to do is get on the frequency to go and get it. And once it's done, then is you just got to find the people and help enough people. It could take me 10 years, but it doesn't matter.
But you're going to feel happier, and you're going to be in a better mood for these 10 years, knowing that this dream already exists, than believing it hasn't.
There's a happier Danny following that process than the Danny before it, isn't there? Yeah,
because believing is the case. Like Jake. Jake went to, he actually remortgaged his home to meet Bob Proctor. Yeah. I don't think he might be saying he had £15,000. He remortgaged his home to go and meet Bob. This is before he knew about this business, and he joined the business and he still didn't know what he was a part of. And he went and met Linda. Obviously, Linda pulled him to one side, took him for a coffee, and she said to him, like, do you know what you were a part of? And they had a conversation. And then he went and had he went into like the event where he was at Bob's to hear him speak, and he was with all the normal, not the normal, say normal, but the average of people who were just going to the convention. And they were talking about what they wanted from the business as such, and they just wanted like a few £1,000s a month and that. But then when he went into the VIP area, because he'd paid so much, he sat with like the big leaders who knew, and he said all they talked about was like visions and mindset. They didn't once talk about selling products or anything like that. And then Jake pulled one of the big leaders, and he earns so I think it's about $1 million a month in this, and he said to him, he goes, can you tell me what it takes to get to where you are? Because obviously you're going to ask the person. And he goes, yeah. So Jake said he was standing there with his pad like this, all excited, thinking he's going to give him the golden nugget. And he just said, believe.
Yeah.
And he said, that's all it is. It's about belief. It's a belief that you're going to get there. He said, you will have so many obstacles and people trying to stop you and put you off. He said, but if you believe that you will get there, then you will get there. Like, there's nothing can stop a man with a possessed who knows where he's going and knows what he wants.
It's beautiful, and it believe in yourself. And I mean, that probably brings us to the end of the podcast now. But that message of believing in yourself is that golden nugget in a sense, isn't it? Danny, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast, mate. And thanks for sharing all of your wisdom with us. All right, buddy.
Yeah, man.
All right, take care.